6.1 page. Chapter 6. Political ideas, rule of law, civil society, Swaraj, revolution, democratic participation. Political ideas, as enumerated in the last chapter, are being extended here. Those discussed here include rule of law, civil society, Swaraj, revolution, democratic participation. 1. Rule of law. Rule of law provides clarity, order and structure regarding 1. Rights to the individuals which must be protected, and Roman 2. Responsibilities of the state which must be performed, all this through the actions of the individuals, organizations and institutions to foster justice in the system. It is a principle which affirms that the governmental authority is legitimately exercised in accordance with written, publicly disclosed laws adopted and enforced in accordance with established procedure. It is not what is related to the governmental exercise of the powers. It is also not what is associated with the rights and liberties of the people, but it is what explains the system itself, especially its basis and characteristics and values. Thomas Aquinas, Summa Theologica, referred to the characteristics of the rule of law as Roman 1. It is in keeping with reason. Roman 2. It is established by a proper authority. Roman 3. It is not for the purpose of achieving goods. And 4. 4. It is properly communicated. To explain the concept of the rule of law rather more comprehensively, it must have the following. The principle of the legitimacy of the administration. Next, an independent judiciary. Next, equality of all citizens in legislation and the application of law. Next, the primacy of the constitution and a corresponding hierarchy of norms from the abstract constitutional principles to specific administrative rulings. Next, the separation of powers between the legislature, the executive and the judiciary. Next, respect for human rights, at least civil and political rights. Chapter 6, Political Ideas, Rule of Law, Civil Society, Swaraj, Revolution, Democratic Principle. Rule of Law, page 6.2. Quote, within inverted comma, the king himself should be under no man, but under God and law. Inverted comma, close. Coke, C-O-K-E. The rule of law is a concept as old as Western civilization itself. In classical Greece, Aristotle wrote that, within inverted comma, law should be the first sovereign and personal rule, whether it is exercised by a single person or a body of persons. Should be sovereign in only those matters which law is unable, owing to the difficulty of framing general rules for all contingencies. Inverted comma, close. In ancient Rome, the corpus juris civilis established a complex body of procedural and substantive rules, reflecting a strong commitment to the belief that law, not the arbitrary will of an emperor, is the appropriate vehicle for dispute resolution. In 1215, the Magna Carta reigned in the corrupt and whimsical rule of King John by declaring that government should not proceed except in accordance with the law of the land. During the 13th century, Thomas Aquinas argued that rule of law represents the natural order of God as ascertained through divine inspiration and human reason. In the 17th century, the English jurist Sir Edward Coke asserted that the, within inverted comma, king ought to be under no man, but under God and the law, inverted comma, close. With regard to the legislative power in England, Coke said that, within inverted comma, when an act of parliament is against common right and reason, or repugnant, or impossible to be performed, the common law will control it and adjudge such act to be void. inverted comma close. In the United States, Alexander Hamilton applies the rule of law to the judiciary when he argued in the Federalist No. 78 that judges within inverted comma had neither force nor will but merely judgment by inverted comma close. Despite its ancient history, the rule of law is not celebrated in all quarters. The English philosopher Jeremy Bentham described the rule of law as within inverted comma nonsense on skills. Nonsense on stilts, inverted comma close. The 20th century has seen political leaders who have oppressed disfavored persons or groups without warning or reason, governing as if no such thing as the rule of law existed. For many people around the world, the rule of law is essential to freedom. The most famous exposition of the concept of rule of law has been laid down by A.V. Dicey, D-I-C-E-Y, within bracket, law of the Constitution, who identifies three principles which together establish the rule of law. Number one, the absolute supremacy or predominance of regular law as opposed to the influence of arbitrary power. Roman 2, equality before the law or the equal subjection of all classes to the ordinary law of the land administered by the ordinary courts. And Roman 3, the law of the Constitution is a consequence of the rights of individuals as defined and enforced by the courts. When explained, it amounts to, in Dicey's own words, D-I-C-E-Y', Dicey's own work, dash within inverted comma dash, every official from the Prime Minister down to a constable or a collector of taxes is under the same responsibility for every act done without legal justification as any other citizen. The reports abound with cases in which officials have been brought before the courts and made in their personal capacity liable to punishment or to the payment of damages for acts done in their official character, but in excess of their lawful authority. Within bracket, appointed government officials and politicians alike, bracket closed, dash, and all subordinates, though carrying out the commands of their official superiors, are as responsible for any act which the law does not authorize as is any private and unofficial person. Inverted comma close. Halsbury laws of England also gives almost the same meaning of the rule of law. In American law, the most famous exposition of the same principle was drafted by John Adams of the Constitution of Commonwealth of Massachusetts in justification of the principles of separation of powers. Within inverted comma, in the government of this Commonwealth, the legislative department shall never exercise the executive and judicial powers or either of them. The executive shall never exercise the legislative and judicial powers or either of them. The judicial shall never exercise the legislative and executive powers or either of them. To the end, it may be government of laws and not of men. A similar concept is found in Common Sense, within bracket 1776 by Thomas Paine. He says within inverted comma dash the world may know that so far as we approve of monarchy, that in America the law is king, for as the absolute government, the king is law. So in free countries, the law ought to be king and there ought to be no other. Quotation within inverted comma. We are free because we live under civil laws. Inverted comma close. Montesquieu. Chapter 6, Political Ideas, Rule of Law, Civil Society, Swaraj, Revolution, Democratic Participation. 1. Rule of Law, page 6.3. In this speech in November 2006, Lord Bingham of Cornhill postulated the following in the concept of the rule of law. First, the law must be accessible and so far as possible intelligible, clear and predictable. Next, questions of legal right and liability should ordinarily be resolved by application of the law and not the exercise of discretion. Next, the laws of the land should apply equally to all, save to the extent and objective differences justify differentiation. Next, the law must afford adequate protection of fundamental human rights. Next, means must be provided for resolving without prohibitive cost of or inordinate delay bona fide civil disputes which the parties themselves are unable to resolve. Next, ministers and public officers at all levels must exercise the powers conferred on them reasonably in good faith, for the purpose of which the powers were conferred and without exceeding the limits of such powers. Next, adjudicative procedures provided by the state should be fair. Next, the state must comply with its obligations in international law. The law which, whether deriving from treaty or international custom and practice, governs the conduct of nations. Obviously, rule of law is not rule of men. Aristotle has said, within inverted comma, rule of law is better than the rule of men. Inverted comma close. A distinction has to be made between the two. Rule of person, a dictator, a few persons, oligarchies, many democracies, as in ancient Greece, bracket close, is what pleases the ruler is the law. That is under the rule of person. There is no limit to what the rulers can do and how they do things. Under the rule of person, the ruler is the law. He is above it. He makes it and he can unmake it. Rule of law is the rule of law. Law as it is. It is the law that rules and not the person who enforces the law. In fact, the person operating the law is under obligation to enforce the law as it is and not as she wants it to mean. Inverted comma close. The difference between rule by law and the rule of law is important. Under the rule of law, under the rule by laws, law is an instrument of the government and the government is above the law. In contrast with the rule of law, no one is above the law, not even the government. The core of within inverted comma rule of law is an autonomous legal order. Under rule of law, the authority of law does not depend so much on law's instrumental capacities, but on the degree of autonomy, that is the degree to which law is distinct and separate from other normative structures such as politics and religion. Chapter 6, Political Ideas, Rule of Law, Civil Society, Swaraj, Revolution, Democratic Participation. 1. Rule of Law, page 6.4. As an autonomous legal order, rule of law has at least three meanings. First, rule of law is a regulator of government power. Second, rule of law means equality before law. Third, rule of law means procedural and formal justice. We will take up these meanings of law, of rule of law. Repeat, we will take up these meanings of rule of law one by one. Rule of law as a constraint on government power is well recognized. Government's rationality is often less understood. Rule of law not only items wrong, repeat, limits the arbitrariness of the government, it also makes the government more intelligent and articulate in its decision making. For example, as Professor Stephen Holmes writes within inverted comma, only a constitution that makes the capacity of political decision makers to silence their sharpest critics can enhance the intelligence and legitimacy of decisions made. Inverted comma close. The rule of law requires the government to exercise its power in accordance with well-established and clearly written rules, regulations, and legal principles. A distinction is sometimes drawn between power, will, and force on one hand and the law on the other. When a government official acts pursuant to an express provision of a written law, he acts within the rule of law. But when a government official acts without the provision of any law, he/she does so by the sheer force of his/her will and power. Under the rule of law, no person may be prosecuted for an act that is not punishable by law. When the government seeks to punish someone for an offence that was not deemed criminal, criminal at the time it was committed, the rule of law is violated because the government exceeds its legal authority to punish. The rule of law is also required the government to exercise its authority under the law. The requirement is sometimes explained with the phrase within inverted comma, no one is above the law, inverted comma close. During the 17th century, however, the English monarch was vested with absolute sovereignty, including the prerogative to disregard laws passed by the House of Commons and ignore rulings made by the House of Lords. In the 18th century, absolute sovereignty was transferred from British monarchy to Parliament, and even an event that was not lost on the colonists who precipitated the American Revolution and created the U.S. Constitution. Under the U.S. Constitution, no single bench of government, under the U.S. Constitution, no single branch of government is given unlimited power. The authority granted to one branch of government is limited by the authority granted to the coordinate branches and by the Bill of Rights, freedom, federally statutory provisions and historical practice. The power of any single branch of government is similarly restrained at the state level. A serious situation is presented when the government acts in the power of any single branch of government is similarly restrained at the state level. A serious situation is presented when the government acts in strict accordance with well-established and clearly defined legal rules and still produces a result that may observers consider unfair or unjust. Before the Civil War, for example, African Americans were systematically deprived for their freedom by carefully written codes and that prescribed the rules and regulations between master and slave. Even though these slave codes were often detailed, unambiguous, and made known to the public, government enforcement codes were often detailed, unambiguous, and made known to the public. Government concerns to them produced unsavory results. It is here that the rule of law comes. Law must conform to universal principle of morality, fairness, and justice. Rule of law has to be ruled under the higher law. Page 6.3. Rule of law courts under chapter 6. Rule of law courts within inverted commas. Let me be a free man, and I will obey every law or submit to the penalty. Joseph Native. Within inverted comma, we are in bondage to the law so that we might be free. Cicero. Next, within inverted comma, conservation is ethically sound it is rooted in our love of the land, our respect for the rights of others, our devotion to the rule of law. Lyndall Johnson. Within inverted comma, liberty is the right to do as the law permits. Montesquieu. Within inverted comma, justice is the insurance which we have on our lives and property. Obedience is the premium which we pay for it. William Penn. Seneca, within inverted comma, he who decides a case without hearing the other side, though he decides justly, cannot be considered just. Seneca. Chapter 6, Political Ideas, Rule of Law, Civil Society, Swaraj, Revolution, Democratic Participation. Page 6.5. Like numerous social science concepts, civil society is a highly contested concept in different contexts and for different ideological reasons. The concept of within inverted commas civil society has different meanings. For its diffuseness and richness, the concept could be traced as far as the ancient Greeks. Its two distinct traditions in our times have shaped its meaning. Both these traditions, the liberal democratic on the one hand and the Marxist on the other, relate the rise of the civil society to the development of capitalism and identify it to a domain of power which exists separate from the state, though the liberal democratic tradition encompasses a range of perspectives on the desirability of civil society. That is a general consensus that civil society can play a politically significant role in checking the power of the state and holding government officials to account. The work of the 19th century thinker Alexander de Tocqueville on associational life in the USA, and in particular his enthusiasm for self-regulation and minimal government underpins current discussions of civil society in the USA. Though Marx did not undertake a systematic or comprehensive analysis of civil society, his writings underline the point that civil society is not socially neutral. For Marx, civil society represented the associational area where the bourgeoisie consolidated its power. These ideas was developed further in the work of the Italian writer Antonio Gramsci in the 1930s and 1940s. In particular, it has contributed towards the general recognition that civil society is a site of complex and unequal power relations which are often challenged and renegotiated. The concept of civil society embraces an entire range of assumptions, which values and institutions such as political, social and civil rights, the rule of law, representative institutions, a public sphere, and above all, a plurality of associations. Commenting on it, David Held, within bracket models of democracy, bracket close, stated that it retains it, within inverted comma, a distinctive character to the extent that it is made up of areas of social life, the domestic world, the economic sphere, cultural activities and political interaction, which are organized by private or voluntary arrangements between individuals and groups outside the direct control of the state, inverted comma close. Adding to political interaction, civil society constitutes what jargon Habermas called, within inverted comma, the public sphere, bracket closed, the structure of modern national state, economic modernization, great interconnectedness with other societies, free enterprise, and what John Donne, within bracket, Western political theory, bracket close, refers to as, within inverted comma, the modern representative democratic republic. Nira Chandho, within bracket, state and civil society must, sums up the meaning of civil society within inverted comma as this public sphere where individuals come together for various purposes both for their self-interest and for the reproduction of an entity called society. Inverted comma close. Again inverted comma, it is, inverted comma close. C continues, inverted comma, within inverted comma, a sphere which is public because it is formally accessible to all and is principle all other repeat, and in principle all are allowed entry into the sphere as the bearers of right. Inverted comma close. A classical definition of the concept of civil society is given by Saint Augustine, who, while quoting Cicero with approval, defines within inverted comma civil society bracket close or the commonwealth as within inverted comma an assemblage of men associated by a common acknowledgement of rights and by a community of interests. If the idea of civil society contains in the idea of what relates to public, the pre-modern times may well be regarded as opposed to the concept. The Platonic rulers, along with the administrators and the large number of those who constituted within inverted comma the producing class inverted comma close, had no role to play in public affairs. The Aristotelian notion of within inverted comma June politikon within inverted comma close within bracket main as political animal bracket close was elitistic in sense that 1. The political animal was a male, 2. The alone was citizen, 3. He alone was a property holder. The rest of the population, the women, the slaves, and the constituted Vaikis, that is the private world, and that would hardly be termed as continuing the civil society. The ancient Romans the ancient Romans did make a distinction between public and private, but they could not shape the idea of civil society. The liberal individualist tradition of modern period, Machiavelli, Bodin, Hobbes and Locke, and the economists such as Adam Smith bracket closed from 17th to 19th centuries made it possible to have its shape of civil society apart from state. Hegel thought of civil society as a negation of the family and the state as the synthesis of the thesis of family and antithesis of civil society, subordinating the principal society, the civil society to the state. Gramsci, within bracket 1891 to 1837, bracket close, follows Marx in his account of civil society. Chapter 6, Political Ideas, Rule of Law, Civil Society, Swaraj, Revolution, Democratic Participation, Civil Society, page 6.6. He says that the state should be understood as not only the apparatus of government but also as the private apparatus of hegemony or civil society. Building of the Marxian notion of the state, Gramsci makes a distinction between the state as a political organization within inverted comma the integral state, the verbal political constitution of civil society bracket closed, and the state as government. The integral state keeps reproducing itself in the practices of everyday life, though activity is situated in civil society. It is hegemony which provides moral and intellectual leadership to practices in civil society. Hegemony for Gramsci works for both for the dominant as well as the subaltern class. Repeat, subaltern class in civil society. Each class must, Gramsci says, before seizing power, hegemonize social relations in society. To sum up, it may be said that for both the liberals and Marxists, civil society is primary, while the liberals argue for the separation of civil society from the autonomy of the state. The Marxists, on the other hand, create an alternative tradition of civil society, in which civil society, with its own potentialities, has to keep itself always recognized and transformed. The credit goes to Adam Ferguson for having used the term within inverted commas civil society inverted comma close as a way to change the corrupt feudal order and strengthen the liberty of the individual. Originally, the term civil society meant within inverted comma political community, a social governed by law, a society governed by law. More commonly, it is now used to describe institutions which are private, in that they are independent from government. More recently, the attempt is being made to build civil society after the collapse of communism in Eastern European society. The communist regime that had banned the civil society institutions. More specifically, the term civil society is being used as a synonym of pluralism. The Civil Society Index defines civil society as the arena outside of the family, the state and the market, where people associate to advance common interest. Invert comma close. Structurally, civil society needs to have 1. Breadth of civil participation, 2. Depth of civil participation, 3. Diversity within it, 4. Levels of organizations and their interrelations, 5. And resources. Environmentally, attempts have to be made to hint at political context, 1, 2. Basic freedoms and rights around, 3. Socio-economic and socio-cultural contexts. Next, 4. Legal framework in which it has to work, 5. Relation between civil society and state, and 6. Relationship between private sector and civil society. Civil society bases itself on certain values which it cherishes. These include democracy, tolerance, transparency, gender equity, and environmental sustainability. The impact of civil society on polity, governance and society includes 1. Influencing public policy, 2. Accountability, 3. Responding to social interests, 4. Empowering citizens, and 5. Meeting societies. Repeat. 4. Empowering citizens, and 5. Meeting societal needs. The relationship between state and civil society is important insofar as it suggests the comparative position of each in relation to the other. In some analysis, the relationship is depicted by a zero-sum game: the stronger the state, the weaker the civil society. The weaker the state, the stronger the civil society. Obviously, the expansion of the area of state activity would help minimize the role of civil society. The expansion of the idea of civil society would help, on the other hand, minimize the role of the state. In modern liberal societies of our times, the civil society within inverted comma sphere inverted comma close is larger than that of the state, while in dictatorial regimes of any sort, the state's sphere is larger than that of civil society. Page 6.6. Chapter 6, Political Ideas, Rule of Law, Civil Society, Swaraj, Revolution, Democratic Participation. Civil society, quotations. First, it is a public sphere, location of the experiences of individuals and communities. Next, it is a theatre where the dialect between private and public is negotiated. Next, it is an arena of uncoerced collective action around shared interests, purposes and values. Next, it is a totality of voluntary, civic and social organization and institutions separate from the state, enjoying its autonomy. Next, civil society, civilization and justice courts. Within inverted comma, justice in itself is the greatest standing policy of civil society. Barke. Next, within inverted comma, whenever a separation is made between liberty and justice, neither, in my opinion, is safe. Barke. Next, within inverted comma, civilization begins with order, grows with liberty, and dies with chaos. Will Durant. Next, within inverted comma, the true test of civilization is the kind of man that a country turns out. Emerson. Next, within inverted comma, there is always time to make right what is wrong. Griffin. Next, within inverted comma, the true civilization is where every man gives to every other every right that he claims for himself. Ingersoll. Next, within inverted comma, at the heart of all that civilization has meant and developed is community, that is universal brotherhood. Martin Luther King Jr. Within inverted comma, civilization is not a burden, it is an opportunity. McLean. Next, within inverted comma, justice is the greatest interest of man on earth. Webster. Next, within inverted comma, you can stand tall without standing on someone. You can be a victor without having victims. Within inverted comma, anyone can be barbarian. It requires a terrible effort to remain a civilized man. Chapter 6. Political ideas, rule of law, civil society, Swaraj, revolution, democratic participation. 3. Swaraj. Gandhiji, within bracket 1869 to 1948, had developed the concept of Swaraj during the Indian liberation struggle. In this book, Hind Swaraj. Wrong. I repeat, in his book, Hind Swaraj, within bracket 1909, Gandhiji, respectfully called Bapu, was emphatic that Swaraj was, within inverted comma, much more than simply wanting the English rule without the Englishman. The tiger's nature, but not the tiger. What he meant was that the English rule, in its institutions relating to politics, economy, bureaucracy, legal system, military arrangement and education, was inherently unjust, exploitative and alienating. Gandhiji believed that Swaraj was infinitely different, greater than and include independence. So for Gandhi, Swaraj was two-dimensional. 1. It involved self-rule for India. Wrong. I repeat, chapter 6. I repeat again, chapter 6, political ideas, rule of law, civil society, Swaraj, revolution, democratic participation, 6.7 page. 3. Swaraj. Gandhiji, within bracket 1869 to 1948, had developed the concept of Swaraj during the Indian liberation struggle. In his book Hind Swaraj 1909, Gandhiji, respectfully called Bapu, was emphatic that Swaraj was, within inverted comma, much more than simply wanting the English rule without the Englishman. The tiger's nature, but not the tiger. What he meant was that the English rule, in its institutions relating to politics, economy, bureaucracy, legal system, military arrangement and education, was inherently unjust, exploitative and alienating. Gandhiji believed that Swaraj was infinitely greater than and includes the independence. So for Gandhi, Swaraj was two-dimensional. 1. It involved self-rule for India as an independent nation. 2. It involved self-rule for each individual. 3. It involved each individual. The first was to be the natural outcome of the latter. With regard to the self-rule and independence for India, Gandhiji wrote as follows, within inverted comma, the independence should be political, economic and moral. Within inverted comma, political necessarily means the removal of the control of the British system in every shape and form. Within inverted comma, economic means entire freedom from British capitalists and capital, as also their Indian counterparts. In other words, the humblest must feel equal to the tallest. Within inverted comma, moral means freedom from armed defense forces. Thus, political Swaraj means self-government and not good government. For Gandhi, good government is no substitute for self-government. What Swaraj is the sense of self-rule means is that the people participate in the formation and functioning of the government. It means continuous effort to be independent of governmental control. Whether foreign government or national government, it means a power with the individuals to improve their lot, a power through which people make their destiny, a power to combat a corrupt polity, a power that controls our absolute authority. Independence involved more than just the expulsion of British political and economic institutions from India. Gandhiji expressed these when he said that within inverted commas, Swaraj means not merely political awakening, but as an all-round awakening, a social, educational, moral, economic and political. Inverted comma close. Chapter 6, Political Ideas, Rule of Law, Civil Society, Swaraj, Revolution, Democratic Participation. 3. Swaraj. Page 6.8. Gandhi declared that the English would leave India within inverted comma only when we reform ourselves. Inverted comma close. Independence from the British rule would only come when individual Indians uprooted the British culture from themselves and their communities. Essentially, Swaraj was, within inverted comma, a movement of self-purification, inverted comma close, for the Indian people. Gandhiji stated, if we all become free, India is free. It is Swaraj when we learn to rule ourselves, inverted comma close. There is, therefore, Swaraj at the individual level. On this level, the call for Swaraj represents a genuine attempt to regain control for the self, our self-respect, self-responsibility and capacities for self-realizations from institutions and humanizations. As Gandhi states within inverted comma, it is Swaraj when we learn to rule ourselves, inverted comma close. The real goal of the freedom struggle was not only to secure political independence from Britain, but rather to gain true Swaraj, within bracket, liberation and self-rule. Gandhi writes, within inverted comma, at the individual level, Swaraj is vitally connected with the capacity for dispassionate self-assessment, careless self-purification. Repeat. Gandhi writes, within inverted comma, at the individual level, Swaraj is vitally connected with the capacity for dispassionate self-assessment, ceaseless self-purification and growing Swadeshi or self-reliance, inverted comma close. Swaraj is the sovereignty of the people based on pure moral authority. For Gandhi, Swaraj of the people means the sum total of the Swaraj of individuals, and so he clarified that for him Swaraj means freedom for the smallest of his countrymen. And in its fullest sense, Swaraj is much more than freedom from all restraints. It is self-rule, self-restraint, and could be equaled with moksha or salvation. To sum up, we may say that Gandhiji's concept of Swaraj, in its use of the word with regard to the national movement means independence of India from the British rule, but in its use of the word as a political concept, it is more than mere independence of the country. It is the power to rule oneself, so from one's government, to support the government if it works for the people, and oppose it if it abuses the trust posed in it by the people, so to resist the authority if it violates its mandate. And in yet another sense, Swaraj is related to the individual in that it raises individual's capacity to rise above all temptations, each performing his duty to the service of all mankind, cultivating, as Gandhi had said, within inverted commas, the spirit of service, renunciation, truth, non-violence, self-restraint, patience, inverted commas close. Gandhiji was more serious in finding ways and means of realizing Swaraj. He used to say that Swaraj will not drop from the clouds, but it would be the fruit of patience, perseverance, ceaseless toil and courage. He also insisted that Swaraj means vast organizing ability, penetration into the villages solely for the service of the villages, that is, through mass education. In the Gandhian scheme, education of the masses means conscientization, mobilization and empowerment, making people to stand up bravely to the powers that be. He said, within inverted comma, real Swaraj will come not by the acquisition of authority, but by the acquisition of the capacity by all to resist authority when it is abused. In other words, Swaraj is to be attained by educating the masses to a sense of their capacity to regulate and control authority, inverted comma close. Indeed, political independence was as essential precondition and in fact the first step towards realization of the goal of Swaraj, but it was only a first step. For political independence, Gandhi worked with and through the Indian National Congress. Foreign domination was one form of domination. There where Gandhi failed, numerous others ills from which India was suffering. He therefore wanted an internal cleansing through self-motivated voluntary action in the form of constructive work. That was why Gandhi attached much importance to constructive work in all his movements. Swaraj of Gandhi's dream was to be built from below, brick by brick. Swaraj for Gandhi meant the elimination of all forms of domination, oppression, segregation, discrimination by the use of active non-violence and through the revival and propagation of Khadi and other related rural schemes. For translating these constructive programs, organizations were necessary. Gandhi therefore founded voluntary organizations to carry out constructive programs. Organizations such as the All India Spinners Association, All India Village Industries Association, and Horizon Sevak Sangh, HSS. Preferring Swaraj to independence, Gandhi emphasized that Swaraj means the rule of self, where the self is not an isolated phenomenon but a related entry related to the nature to others. Chapter 6, Political Ideas, Rule of Law, Civil Society, Swaraj, Revolution, Democratic Participation. 3. Swaraj, page 6.9. Here, self is not an isolated normal subsisting in itself and for itself. Here, self is self of the self, which is the transcendent, immanent reality. That is the self of the inner self, the truth in him. Swaraj presupposes that all individuals are related to each other, for all of them are related to their respective self, and hence there is interdependence or relatedness among them. This interdependence and relatedness of the individual is not arrived at through any social contract for the sake of socialization. It is inborn, it is related one. In the Gandhian system, this relatedness in the individual operates through the principle of non-violence, which gives relatedness its legitimacy. The individual, Gandhi says, should not violate the truth in others. This respect for truth in others and this relatedness with others, non-volatile, is the path of Swaraj. It is the very striving after Swaraj that takes care of Swaraj. As relatedness, Swaraj is not isolation. It is rather a feeling of fellowship, of companionship, and not that of alienating desires. As one that is an object of search for truth and finding truth in everyone else. Swaraj is a situation of non-domination, that is freedom from all kinds of domination. As interdependence, Swaraj is mutual help, mutual assistance, and therefore freedom from oppression and exploitation. Swaraj as self-dependence and as interdependence, following the following the spirit of relatedness, means structurally for Gandhi that every village would be a republic having full powers as a self-sustained and self-dependent body. In such a self-regulated body, individual is the basic and ultimate unit who would render his cooperation freely and willingly. The ultimate basis of the individual and the village society, Gandhi explains, is truth, which is a transcendent and immanent concept, having non-violence as its operational principle. In the structure composed of innumerable villages, George Patry says for Gandhi, within inverted comma, there will be ever widening, never ascending circles. Life will not be a pyramid with the apex sustained by the bottom, but it will be an oceanic circle whose center will be the individual, always ready to perish for the village, the latter ready to perish for the circle of villages, till at last the whole becomes one life composed of individuals never aggressive in their arrogance but ever humble, sharing the majesty of the oceanic circle of which they are integral unit. Invert comma close. The outermost circumstances, Patry says within invert comma, in this design would not wield power to crush the inner circle, but would give strength to all within and derive its own strength from it. Machinery would not displace human labor, nor would there be concentration of power in a fewer hands. Within invert comma close, Swaraj is decentralized policy. It is power in devolution, always devolving. Gandhiji's Swaraj implied Swadeshi, that is something that is rooted in one's immediate surroundings, and Sarvodaya, that is the welfare of all. It is the welfare of the poor together with the welfare of the rich. Swaraj is the greatest of the values of an individual needs to have. It is what makes an individual fearless, fearless, disciplined, just, generous, compassionate, benevolent, non-violent, self-suffering. In this construction of a civil society, Gandhiji introduces the quest for liberation or self-realization as the basic component. Search for revelation gives all the members a transcendent reference point and enables them to relativize everything else and at the same time to be related to one another on a basis that is above themselves. By introducing a transcendent referentiality in the construction of civil society, Gandhiji visualizes a civil society that is eco-friendly and not narrowly anthropocentric, it gives civil society a primordial character. Gandhiji's concept of Swaraj had in its expression or more than political independence. I repeat, Gandhiji's concept of Swaraj had in its expression of more than political independence. It had its meaning stretched to the domains of individual, economy, politics, and to those aspects which relate to life. Swaraj was, for him, both a means and an end. As an end, it was truth. As a means, it was the principle of non-violence. It was freedom, inner freedom. It was what came from one's inner voice. Quotation. Under chapter 6, 3 Swaraj, so said Gandhiji. Page 6.10. Within inverted commas, strength does not come from physical capacity. It comes from an indomitable will. Inverted comma close. Next, inverted comma, truth and non-violence are as old as the hills. Inverted comma close. Next, inverted comma, the weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. Inverted comma close. Next, within inverted comma, non-violence is mightier than the mightiest weapon of destruction. Inverted comma close. Next, within inverted comma, immature love says, I love you because I need you. Mature love says, I need you because I love you. Inverted comma close. Next, within inverted comma, truth never damages a cause that is just. Inverted comma close. Next, within inverted comma, an eye for an eye makes us all blind. Inverted comma close. Next, within inverted comma, humanity is an ocean. If a few drops of the ocean are dirty, the ocean doesn't become dirty. Next, within inverted comma, good government is the most dangerous government because it deprives people of the need to look after themselves. Next, within inverted comma, A, within inverted comma, no, uttered from the deepest conviction is better than a yes, merely uttered to please or words to avoid trouble. Inverted comma close. Next, within inverted comma, love as if you were to die tomorrow, learn as if you are to live forever. Inverted comma close. Next, within inverted comma, as human beings, our greatness lies in being able to remark ourselves. Inverted comma close. Next, inverted comma, I like your Christ. I do not like your Christians. Your Christians are so unlike your Christ. Inverted comma close. Quotations on Swaraj. It is a capacity to rise above one's temptation. It is self-realization. Next, it is an attempt to regain control of the self our self-respect, self-responsibilities. Next, it is at the national level more than attaining freedom, wanting the English rule without Englishmen, the tiger's nature without tiger. Next, it is Swaraj when we learn to rule ourselves. Page 6.11. Chapter 6. Political ideas, rule of law, civil society, Swaraj, revolution, democratic participation. 4. Revolution. Taken from astronomy, the word revolution, derived from the Latin revolvere, which means turning around or roll back, has been variously defined. Aristotle, within bracket 384 to 322, bracket closed, within inverted comma, politics, bracket closed, used the word revolution to mean change of rulers. With time, it has come to mean the overthrow of an established order, involving not only the transfer of power but also a radical reconstructing of social and economic relations. With Marx, within bracket 1818 to 1883, bracket closed, revolution in positive sense, replacing the age-old negative one, has come to a mean within inverted comma, locomotives of history, inverted comma, close. The word, inverted comma, revolution, inverted comma, close, entered English from the old French Revolution in 1913 and 90, originally only applied to celestial bodies. The presently dominant political meaning following Copernicus, within inverted comma, on the revolution of the celestial spheres, inverted comma, close, was first recorded in 1600 from the French. The word revolution denotes a socio-political change. Jeff Godin, within bracket, no other way out, states and revolutionary movements 1945 to 91, invert bracket closed, has given two definitions of revolution. Broad, where revolution is, within inverted comma, any and all instances in which a state or a political regime is overthrown and thereby transformed by a political movement in an irregular, extra-constitutional and oblique or violent fashion, inverted comma, close, and narrow, in which, inverted comma, revolution entails not only mass mobilizations and regime change, but also more or less rapid and fundamental social, economic and oblique or cultural change during or soon after the struggle for state power, inverted comma, close, Jack Gladstone, within bracket, inverted comma, towards a fourth generation of revolutionary theory, bracket, inverted comma, close, bracket close, defines revolution as, inverted comma, an effort to transform the political institutions and the justification for political authority in society, accompanied by formal or informal mass mobilization and non-institutionalized actions that undermine authority, inverted comma, close. Huntington, within bracket, political order in changing societies, inverted comma, bracket close, regards revolution as, within inverted comma, a rapid, fundamental and violent domestic change in the dominant values and myths of a society, inverted comma, close. Hannah Arendt, within bracket, on revolution, is of the opinion that the concept of revolution, inverted comma, is inextricably bound up with the notion that course of history suddenly begins anew, that an entirely new story never known as told before is about to unfold, inverted comma, close. Cohen, within bracket, theories of revolution, bracket closed, holds that a revolution is that process by which a radical alteration of a particular society occurs over a time span. Revolutions occur as a result of numerous factors: social disequilibrium, repression, tyrannical laws, denial of rights and liberties, poverty, exploitation and discrimination. The ancient Greeks viewed revolution as the undesirable results of the societal breakdown. A strong value system, firmly adhered to, was thought to protect against it. During the Middle Age, much attention was given to finding means of combating revolution and stifling society change. With the advent of Renaissance humanism, there arose the belief that radical changes of government are sometimes necessary and good, and the idea of revolution took on more positive connotations. John Milton regarded it as a means of achieving freedom. Immanuel Kant believed that it was a force for the advancement of mankind, and W. F. Hegel held it to be the fulfillment of human destiny. Hegel's philosophy in turn influenced Karl Marx, who declared it as the locomotive of history. Jack Goldstone differentiates four generations of scholarly research dealing with revolutions. The scholars of the first generation, such as Gustav Le Bon, Charles A. Eliot and Pitirim Sorokin, were mainly descriptive in their approach, and their explanations of the phenomena of revolutions were usually related to social psychology, such as Levon's crowd psychology theory. Second-generation theorists sought to develop detailed theories of which and when revolutions arise, grounded in more complex social behavior theories. They can be divided into three major approaches: psychological, sociological, and political. The works of Ted R. Gore, Ivo K. Firebrand, Rosalind L. Firebrand, James A. Greschwender, David C. Schwartz, and Denson E. Morrison fall in the first category. They followed theories of cognitive psychology and frustration aggression theory, and saw the cause of revolution in the status of the masses, and frustration aggression theory and saw the cause of revolution in the status of mind of the masses. And while they varied in their approach as to what exactly caused the people to revolt within bracket modernization, recession or discrimination bracket closed, they agreed that the primary cause of revolution was the widespread frustration with the socio-political situation. The second group, composed of academics such as Chalmers Johnson, Niels Miller, Bob Jessop, Mark Hart, Edward A. Tirakian, and Kirk Hagopian, followed in the footsteps of Talcott Parsons and the structural functionalist theory in sociology. They saw society as a system in equilibrium between various resources, demands and subsystems within bracket political, cultural, etc. bracket close. As in the psychological school, they differed in their definitions of what causes disequilibrium, but agreed that it is a state of a severe disequilibrium that is responsible for revolutions. Finally, the third group, which included writers such as Charles Tilly, Samuel P. Hamilton, Peter Amman, and Arthur L. Steincombe, followed the path of political science and looked at the pluralist theory and the interest group conflict theory. These theories see events as outcomes of a power struggle between competing interest groups. In such a model, revolutions occur when two or more groups cannot come to terms within a normal decision-making process in a given political system and simultaneously possess another resources to employ force in pursuing their goals. The second generation theorists saw the development of the revolutions as a two-step process. First, some change. I repeat, Chapter 6, Political Ideas, Rule of Law, Civil Society, Swaraj, Revolution, Democratic Participation. 4. Revolution, page 6.12. The second generation theorists saw the development of the revolutions as a two-step process. First, some change results in the present situation being different from the past. Second, the new situation creates an opportunity for a revolution to occur. In that situation, an event that in the past would not be sufficient to cause a revolution, bracket, example, a war, a riot, a bad harvest, bracket closed, now is sufficient. However, if authorities are aware of the danger, they can still prevent a revolution, within bracket, though reform or repression, bracket closed. Many of such early studies of revolutions usually concentrated on the four classic, within inverted comma, great revolutions, inverted comma, close, scenes as famous as uncontroversial examples fitting virtually all definitions of revolutions: the Glorious Revolution, within bracket 1688, bracket close, the French Revolution, within bracket 1789 to 99, bracket close, the Russian Revolution of 1917, and the Chinese Revolution 1924 to 49. In time, scholars began to analyze hundreds of other events as revolution and Differences in definitions and approaches give rise to new definitions and explanations. The theories of the second generation have been criticized for their limited geographical scope, difficulty in empirical verification. Also, while they may explain some particular revolutions, they did not explain why revolutions did not occur in other societies in very similar situations. The criticism of the second generation led to the rise of the third generation of theories, with writers such as Theda Stockpole, Barrington Moore and Jeffrey Page expanded on the old Marxist class conflict approach, turning attention to rural agrarian state conflicts with autonomous elites, and the impact of interstate economic and military competition on domestic political change, particularly Scopal states and social revolutions, become one of the most widely recognized works of the third generation. Stockpole defined revolutions as, within inverted commas, rapid, basic transformation of society's state and class structures, accompanied and in part carried through by class-based revolts from below, inverted comma close, attributing revolutions to a conjunction of multiple conflicts involving state elites and the lower classes. From the late 1980s, a new body of scholarly work began questioning the dominance of the third generation's theories. The old theories also dealt a significant blow by new revolutionary events that could not be easily explained by them. The Iranian and Nicaraguan revolutions of 1979-1986, EDSA revolution in the Philippines, and in the 1989 Autumn of Nations in Europe saw, within bracket, now in fourth one, multi-class coalitions topple seemingly powerful regimes amidst popular demonstrations and mass strikes in non-violent revolutions. Defining revolutions as mostly European violent state versus people and class struggle conflicts was no longer sufficient. The study of revolutions thus evolved in three directions. First, some researchers were applying previous or updated structuralist theories of revolutions to events beyond the previously analyzed mostly European conflicts. Secondly, scholars called for greater attention to a conscious agency in the form of ideology and culture in revolutionary mobilization and achieving objectives. Chapter 6, Political Ideas, Rule of Law, Civil Society, Swaraj, Revolution, Democratic Participation. 4. Revolution, page 6.13. Thirdly, analysts of both revolutions and social movements realize that those phenomena have much in common, and a new fourth generation literature on contentious politics has developed that attempts to combine insights from the study of social movements and revolutions in hopes of understanding both phenomena. While revolutions encompass events ranging from the relatively peaceful revolutions that overthrew communist regimes to the violent Islamic revolution in Afghanistan, they exclude coup d'etats, civil wars, revolts and rebellions that make no effort to transform institutions or the justification for authority, as well as peaceful transitions to democracy, both institutional arrangements such as plebiscites and free elections, as in Spain after the death of Francisco Franco. Some popular types of revolutions as discussed in social science literature include A. Great revolutions. Revolutions that transform economic and social structure as well as political institutions, such as the French Revolution of 1989, Russian Revolution of 1917, and Islamic Revolution of Iran. B. Political revolutions. Revolutions that change only state institutions. C. Social revolutions. Revolutions that involve changes in the socio-economic system. D. Elite revolution or revolution from above. Sweeping reforms carried out by elites who directly control mass mobilization. E. Proletarian or communist revolutions. Revolutions inspired by the ideas of Marxism and that aim to replace capitalism with communism. F. Failed or abortive revolutions. Revolutions that failed to secure power after temporary, victorious or large-scale mobilizations. Non-violent revolutions. G. Non-violent revolutions, within bracket popularly known as color revolutions in the post-Cold War period, bracket close. Relatively recent phenomena where revolutionary political change is combined with very low level of violence. H. Cultural revolution, a struggle for power within the Communist Party of China, which grew to include large sections of Chinese society and eventually brought the People's Republic of China to the brink of civil war, and which lasted for 1966 to 1976. Such revolutions involving the rooting of the values and beliefs which support the old order. Next, I. Industrial revolution, the major shift of technological, social, economic and cultural conditions in the late 18th and early 19th centuries that began in Britain and spread throughout the world. Second industrial revolution, within bracket 1871 to 1914, bracket close. J. Scientific revolution, a fundamental transformation in scientific ideas around the 16th century. K. Sexual revolution, a change in sexual morality and sexual behavior throughout the Western world from the 1960s till date. F. Green revolution, the use of industrial fertilizers and new crops greatly increase the world's agricultural output. The Marxian theory of revolution was a step forward in all earlier writings and ideas about revolutions. Unlike Aristotle and his followers, who ventured to write on the concept of revolution, Marx saw in revolution a positive and a welcome measure, saying that revolutions serve as engines of history, that is, they make it possible for society to enter a higher stage of development. The Marxists regard revolutions as force of change, indicating the development in the productive forces. Revolutions occur, the Marxists believe, because of the struggle between the relations of productions, within bracket which do not want changes, bracket closed, and the forces of production, within bracket which want changes, bracket closed. All revolutions are a step forward, leading to a new mode of production. Revolutions occur in the base first, while the corresponding changes in the superstructure are only a corollary. Revolutions are class revolutions when the class system remains intact, within bracket feudal or capitalist system, bracket closed. They are socialist revolutions when the opposing classes are abolished after the revolution, within bracket, for example, 1917 October Revolution in Russia, bracket closed. The use of violence is an attending feature, an accidental one. Chapter 6, Political Ideas, Rule of Law, Civil Society, Swaraj, Revolution, Democratic Participation. 5. Democratic Participation. Participation and democracy go together. It is, I repeat, 5. Democratic Participation, page 6.14. Participation and democracy go together. It is participation which makes a democratic system, within bracket a form of government, which is the best of all the forms the world over. bracket closed, a success. It is participation which integrates civil society into a whole social fabric. It is participation which mitigates any possibility of violent revolution. Participation is an umbrella term which includes different means for the people to directly participate in public affairs. In political science, it means political participation, that is, participation in the formation and functioning of a polity wherein people actively participate in all those activities which concern them. Its basic feature is active citizenship, citizens taking active part in political life. Barber, within bracket, strong democracy, bracket close. Robertson, within bracket, political participation, bracket close. Pittman, within bracket, participation and democratic theory, bracket closed, insist on greater political participation. Participation takes different forms: voting in election campaign, involvement in governmental activities and in decision making. If confined to voting only, it is called spectators activity. And if it extended to forms such as holding office, etc., etc., it is called gladiatorial activity. Obviously, the more the participation, the stronger is democracy. The advocates of participatory democracy, within bracket, Pittman, Macpherson, democratic theory, Pulantas, state power socialism, bracket close, seek democratization of parliament, bureaucratizes and political parties, and in the process want direct participation of the citizens in the regulation of all fields in the society. Participation indeed is a solution to all the ills of democracy, but it is not without its inherent problems. Its chief limitation is that it is largely an impracticable exercise, howsoever vertical and horizontal it may be made through procedural rules. It remains wanting in respects more than one. And then, for any political participation, there has to be social participation. Participation has to be procedural, institutional, as well as substantive, because participation's graph is always demanding. There have arisen doubts about its efficiency. This has made scholars such as John Barnum even invent a new term, demarchy, within inverted comma, advocating a type of political system without state of bureaucracies and basing instead of randomly selected groups of decision makers. Among these critics of elections, Benjamin Ginsburg is of opinion that they make mass participation impossible under bureaucratic or military rules. Quote, within inverted comma, the West won the world by its superiority in applying organized violence. Westerners often forget this fact. Non-Westerners never do. Bracket close, inverted comma close. Huntington. Quotations under 4 revolutions quotes. Within inverted comma, the revolution is a dictatorship of the exploited against the exploiters. Inverted comma close, Fidel Castro. Next, successful, within inverted comma, successful revolt is a revolution. Unsuccessful revolution is a revolt. Inverted comma close, V.I. Lenin. Next, inverted comma, revolution is engendered by an indignation with tyranny, yet in itself pregnant with tyranny. Inverted comma close, William Godwin. Next, inverted comma, one does not establish a dictatorship in order to safeguard a revolution. One makes the revolution in order to establish the dictatorship. Inverted comma close, George Orwell. Next, inverted comma, a revolution is not a dinner party or writing an essay or painting a picture or doing embroidery. Bracket closed, Mao Zedong. Next, inverted comma, the reed of revolution is repression. Inverted comma close, Woodrow Wilson. Next, within inverted comma, you can jail a revolutionary, but you cannot jail the revolution. inverted comma close, Huey Newton. Next, inverted comma, poverty is the parent of revolution and crime, inverted comma close, Aristotle. Next, inverted comma, the most radical revolutionary will become a conservative, and the day after the revolution, within inverted comma, Hannah Arendt. Next, inverted comma, revolutions are not made, they come, inverted comma close, Wendell Phillips. Inverted comma, those who make peaceful revolution impossible will make violent revolution inevitable, inverted comma close, John F. Kennedy. Revolutions, quote, a revolution brings about alteration in society, social structures and institutions. Next, it leads to transfer of power. Next, it ends up in newer values and myths. Next, it is a shift in the class composition of the elite. Page 6.15. Chapter 6, Political Ideas, Rule of Law, Civil Society, Swaraj, Revolution, Democratic Participation. Exercise 1. Question 1. Violation of the rule of law arises mostly from A. Limited franchise, B. Delegated legislation, C. Lack of checks and balances, D. Executive's quasi-judicial power. The correct answer is D. Executive's quasi-judicial power. When executive and judicial powers are in the hands of one person, the victim is rule of law, hence separation of a judiciary from executive. Question 2. The kind of equality that the rule of law enshrines it. A. Substantive, B. Procedural, D. Distributive, D. Paternal. The correct answer is B. Procedural. Question 3. Which one of the following has a close affinity to the rule of law? A. Martial law, B. Judicial supremacy, C. Constitution, D. Separation of powers. The correct answer is C. Constitution. Question 4. Rule of law does not imply A. Law must be universally applied, B. It is a personal phenomenon, C. It is both written and unwritten, D. It is rational. The correct answer is B. It is a personal phenomenon. Question 5. The following is associated with the rule of law. A. Ivor Jennings, B. A.V. Dickey, C. A.D. Lindsay, D. Harold Lasky. The correct answer is B. A.V. Dickey. Question 6. Given below are two statements, one labeled as assertion A and the other labeled as reasoned R. Assertion A, within inverted comma rule of law, affirms that the governmental authority is legitimately exercised. Reason R, rule of law is ruled by law. In the context of the above two statements, which of the following is correct? A and R are true, R is explanation of A. B, A and R are true, but R is not the explanation of A. C, A is true, but R is false. D, A is false, but R is true. The correct answer is B. A and R are true, but R is not the explanation of A. Question 7. Assertion A, within inverted comma rule of law, regards all people as equal in the eyes of law. Reason R, within inverted comma equal protection of law, inverted comma close, is a core characteristic of the rule of law. A and R are true, R is explanation of A. B, A and R are true, but R is not the explanation of A. C, A is true, but R is false. D, A is false, but R is true. The correct answer is A and R are true, R is explanation of A. Question 8. One of the following is not the feature of rule of law. A, equality of all citizens in the application of law. B, respect for individuals' right. C, rule of law is what it is open and what it is hidden. D, rule of law is basic to all the laws of the land. The correct answer is C, that is rule of law is what it is open and what it is hidden. 9. Magna Carta is regarded as the liberties of the following people: A, Englishmen, B, Americans, C, Indians, and D, Canadians. The correct answer is 9A, Englishmen. Magna Carta, within bracket 1215, came up in England during the rule of King John. 10. Question 10. Magna Carta started that the government would in future not proceed except in accordance with A. The wishes of the people, B. The law of the court, C. The law of the land, D. The law the king prescribes. The correct answer is C. The law of the land. Question 11. Match list 1 with list 2 and select the correct code. In the row, list 1 and list 2. Under list 1 in the column, serial A, Decay, B, Paine, C, Sartori and D, Holmes. Under list 2 in the column, serial 1, Theory of Democracy Revisited, serial 2, Law of Constitution, 3, Passions and Constraints, and 4, Common Sense. Code in the row A, B, C and D. Under A in the column, serial A2, B2, C2, D2. Under B in the column, A4, B4, C1, D3. Under C in the column, A1, B3, C3, D1. Under D in the column, A3, B1, C4 and D4. The correct answer is A, that is under A, Decay, 2, law of the Constitution, under B, Paine, 4, that is Common Sense, C, Sartori, 1, Theory of Democracy Revisited, D, Holmes, 3, Passions and Constraints. Question 12. One of the following does not match. A, Decay, the spirit of the laws. B, Hayek, the road to stardom. C, Rutherford, Lex Rex. D, Aquinas, Summa Theologica. The correct answer is A, Decay, the spirit of the laws. Question 13. Consider the following statements with regard to the rule of law. A, primacy of the Constitution. 2, equal protection of law. 3, rule of law. 4, respect for individuals' rights. Which of the statements given above are correct? A, 1, 2, 3, B, 1, 3, 4, C, 1, 2, 4 and D, 2, 3, 4. The correct answer is C, 1, 2, 4. 1, primacy of the Constitution. 2, equal protection of law. 4, respect for individuals' rights. Chapter 6, Political Ideas, Rule of Law, Civil Society, Swaraj, Revolution, Democratic Participation. Exercises. As 6.16 page. Question 14. The following was one of the greatest contributions of Edward Coke when he interpreted A, Magna Carta, B, Petition of Rights, C, Bill of Rights and D, none of the above. The correct answer is A, Magna Carta. Question 15. Who described the rule of law as nonsense stills? A, Blackstone, B, Bentham, C, Burke and D, Bingham. The correct answer is B, Bentham. Question 16. Consider the following with regard to the features of the rule of law. 1. Rule should be accessible. 2. Rules need to exercise their powers reasonably. 3. Judicial procedure should be fair. 4. The law of land should correspond to the law of the government. Which of the statements given above are correct? A, 1, 2, 3, B, 2, 3, 4, C, 1, 2, 4, D, 1, 3, 4. The correct answer is A, 1, 2, 3. 1. Law should be accessible. 2. Rulers need to exercise their powers reasonably. C. Judicial procedure should be fair. 17. Question 17. Rule of law implies the following. 1. It is rule of men as the law wills. 2. It is the rule of law as the rulers will. 3. It is rule by law and rule according to justice and fairness. 4. It is rule in accordance with the law of the land. Which of the statements given above are correct? A, 1, 2, 3, B, 1, 3, 4, C, 1, 2, 4 and D, 2, 3, 4. B, 1, 3, 4. 1. It is rule men as the law wills. B, 3. It is rule by law and rule according to justice and fairness. And 4. It is rule in accordance with the law of the land. Achha. Question 18. Rule of law means 1. Law regulates government. 2. All are equal before law. C. Procedural and substantive justice. 4. The government is above law. Which of the statements given above are correct? A 1 to 3, B 2 3 1 to 4, C 1 3 4 and D 1 2 3 4. The correct answer is 1 3 4. I repeat, it's wrong. Rule 18, rule of law means 1. Law regulates government. 2. All are equal before law. 3. Procedural and substantive justice. 4. The government is above law. Which of the statements given above are correct? A 1 2 3, B 1 2 4, C 1 3 4 and D 2 3 4. The correct answer is A, that is 1 2 3. That is 1. Law regulates government. 2. All are equal before law. C. 3. Procedural and substantive justice. Question 19. D.K. wrote the following. A. Law of the United Kingdom. B. Law of Great Britain. C. Law of England. D. Law of the Constitution. The correct answer is D. Law of the Constitution. Question 20. Match list 1 with list 2. In the row list 1 and the list 2. Under list 1 in the column A. Hamilton, B. Coke, C. Blackstone and D. D.K. Under list 2 in the column A. 1. Law of the Constitution. 2. Commentaries on the laws of England. C. Commentary on Littleton. And 4. The Federalist. Code in the row A, B, C and D. Under A in the column A4, B4, C4, D4, D3. Under B in the column A3, B2, C1, D2. Under C in the column A2, B3, C3 and D1. Under D in the column A1, B1, C1, C2 and D4. The correct answer is A. That is under A, Hamilton. 4. The Federalist. Under B, Coke. 3. That is commentary on Littleton. Under C, that is Blackstone. 2. Commentaries on the laws of England. Under D, DK. 1. Laws of the Constitution. Question 21. Thomas Paine wrote the following. A. Common good. B. Common interest. C. Common sense. D. Common law. The correct answer is common sense. Question 22. One of the following is not what? I repeat. Question 22. One of the following. Now, question 21. Thomas Paine wrote the following. A. Common good. B. Common interest. C. Common sense. And C. D. Common laws. The correct answer is common sense. C. Common sense. 22. Question 22. One of the following is not what DK had included in the rule of law. 1. Absolute supremacy of the law as opposed to any arbitrary power. 2. Equal subjection of all. 3. Law of the Constitution is the result of king's dictates. 4. Law of the Constitution is the consequence of the rights of the individual as enforced by courts. Which of the following statements are given above are correct? A 1 2 3, B 1 2 4, C 1 3 4 and D 2 3 4. The correct answer is B, that is 1 2 and 4. 1. A. Absolute supremacy of law as opposed to any arbitrary power. 2. Equal subjection of law. 4. Law of the Constitution is the consequence of the rights of the individual as enforced by courts. 23. The following coined the term rule of law. A. Raj, B. Anger, C. Decay, D. Medicine. The correct answer is C, that is decay. Chapter 6. Political ideas, rule of law, civil society, Swaraj, revolution, democratic participation. Page 6.17. Question 24. Assertion A. Rule of law is a necessary feature of democracy. Reason R. Even the undemocratic states observe rule of law. A and R are true. R is explanation of A. B, A and R are true, but R is not the explanation of A. C, A is true, but R is false. D, A is false, but R is true. The correct answer is B. A and R are true, but R is not the explanation of A. Question 25. One of the following matches correctly. A. Anger, the authority of law. B. Raj, law of modern society. C. Decay, law of constitution. D. Cranstone, elites in British society. C. Decay, law of the constitution. Question 26. Hegel saw civil society as a domain of A. Particularity, B. Freedom, C. Universality, D. Harmony. The correct answer is C. Universality. Question 27. Civil society is not a central concept in the political thought of A. F. W. G. Hegel, B. J. Bentham, C. A. Gramsci, and D. V. I. Lenin. The correct answer is B, that is J. Bentham. Question 28. According to Antonio Gramsci, civil society is primarily geared to the generation of A. Coercion, B. Exploitation, C. Consent, and D. Dissent. The correct answer is C. Consent. Question 29. The concept of civil society originated in A. the Reformation, B. the French Revolution, D. the American Revolution, D. the Enlightenment. The correct answer is A. the Reformation. Question 30. Who among the following theorized civil society as an ideological domain? A. Karl Marx, B. Hegel, C. Antonio Gramsci, and D. Noam Chomsky. The correct answer is C. Antonio Gramsci. Question 11. Wrong. Repeat. Question 31. The domain of civil society exists separate from the following: A. Voluntary organizations, B. NGOs, C. State, D. None of this. The correct answer is C. State. Question 32. Consider the following with regard to civil society. Correct answer is 1. It is a wrong. I repeat. Question 32. Consider the following with regard to civil society. 1. It is a plurality associations. B. Two values such as human rights. 3. Socio-economic context. 4. Legitimate right of coercion. Which of the statements given above are correct? A. 1, 2, 4. B. 1, 2, 3. C. 1, 3, 4. D. 2, 3, 4. The correct answer is B. 1, 2, 3. Question 33. The following is not true about civil society. A. It is a public sphere. B. It is accessible only to the government officials. C. All are allowed entry as the bearers of rights. D. Cherishes values like democracy. Correct answer is B. It is accessible only to the government officials. Question 34. The following is true about Aristotle's citizen. A. He was well educated. B. He had the right to vote. C. Male and female both. D. Holder of property. Correct answer is D. Holder of property. Question 35. Hegel's concept of civil society was A. Thesis, B. Antithesis, C. A synthesis, D. None of this. The correct answer is B, that is antithesis. Question 36. The following introduced hegemony in the concept of civil society. A. Hegel, B. Marx, C. Gramsci, and D. Lenin. The correct answer is C, that is Gramsci. Question 37. Assertion A. Wrong. I repeat, assertion A. Civil society is the totality of voluntary organizations. Reason R. It is prior to the state as Hegel affirms. A and R are true. R is explanation of A. B, A and R are true, but R is not the explanation of A. C, A is true, but R is false. D, A is false, but R is true. The correct answer is B. A and R are true, but R is not the explanation of A. Question 38. Assertion A. Private public get negotiated at the platform of the state. Reason R. State dominates civil society in totalitarian systems. A and R are true. R is the explanation of A. B, A and R are true, but R is not the explanation of A. C, A is true, but R is false. D, A is false, but R is true. The correct answer is D. That is, A is false, but R is true. Chapter 6. Political ideas, rule of law, civil society, Swaraj, revolution, democratic participation, exercises. Question 39, page 6.18. Question 39. Match list with list 2. In the row, list 1 and list 2. Under list 1 in the column, A. Alexander, B. Gray, C. Kumar, D. Sen. Under list 2 in the column, 1. Development as freedom, 2. Civil society, 3. Civil society and political theory, 4. From post-communism to civil society. The quote in the row A, B, C and D. Under A in the column, serial A 3, B 3, C 3, D 3. Under B, A, serial number A4, B4, C2, D1. Under serial number C in the column, A2, B1, C1, D2. Under D in the column, A1, D2, C4 and D4. The correct answer is A, that is under A, Alexander. 3, that is civil society and political theory. B, Gray. 4, from post-communism to civil society. C, Kumar. Under C, 2, that is civil society. D, Sen. Under D, 1, development as freedom. 4, question 40. Amartya Sen wrote the following. A, freedom and development. B, freedom as development. C, development as freedom. D, development and freedom. The correct answer is B, that is freedom as development. Question 41. Match list 1 with list 2. Under list, in the row, list 1 and list 2. Under list 1 in the row, under list 1 in the column, serial A, Edward Shields, B, Swift, C, Welzer and B, D, Pearson. Under list 2 in the column, serial number 1, new theories of state and civil society. 2, the civil society argument. 3, civil society in question. 4, the virtue of civil society. Code in the row A, B, C and D. Under A in the column, A4, B4, C4, D1. Under B in the column, serial number A2, B3, C1, D1. Under C in the column, serial number A3, B2, C2, D3. Under D in the column, serial number A1, B1, C4, C3, C3 and D4. The correct answer is B, that is under A, Edward Shields. 4, that is the virtue of civil society. Under B, Swift. 3, civil society in question. Under C, Walger. 2, that is the civil society argument. Under D, Pearson. 1, new theories of state and civil society. Question 42. One of the following used the term civil society. A, Plato, B, Aristotle, C, Ferguson and D, Coke. The correct answer is C, that is Ferguson. Question 43. Swaraj for Gandhiji meant A, liberation from colonial rules. B, independence of India. C, freedom to shape one's destiny. 4, all of the above. Question 44. Who wrote the book Hind Swaraj? A, Jawaharlal Nehru, B, Mahatma Gandhi, C, Ram Mohan Lohiya and D, Subhash Chandra Bose. Correct answer is Mahatma Gandhi. Question 45. Gandhiji's concept of Swaraj was A, one-dimensional, B, two-dimensional, C, three-dimensional and D, four-dimensional. The correct answer is B, that is two-dimensional. Question 46. Swaraj as independence of India meant A, political independence in so far as it saw the end of the British rule. B, economic independence in so far as it sought freedom from British capitalists. C, moral independence in so far as it urged freedom from armed defense forces. D, all the above. The correct answer is D, all the above. Question 47. Assertion A, Swaraj for Gandhiji meant self-government. Reason R, good government for him was always self-government. A and R are true, R is the explanation of A. B, A and R are true, but R is not the explanation of A. C, A is true, but R is false. And D, A is false, but R is true. The correct answer is A, that is A is true, but R is false. Question 48. Consider the following with regard to Swaraj. 1. Swaraj is self-rule. 2. It is controlling the self. 3. It is an attempt of self-realization. 4. It is making destiny with the support of government. Which of the statements given above are correct? A, 1, 2, 3, B, 1, 2, 4, C, 1, 3, 4 and D, 2, 3, 4. The correct answer is A, that is 1, 2, 3. 1 means Swaraj is self-rule. 2, it is controlling the self. And 3, it is an attempt of self-realization. Chapter 6, Political Ideas, Rule of Law, Civil Society, Swaraj, Revolution, Democratic Participation, Exercises. Question 49, page 6.19. Question 49. Gandhiji Swaraj was to be built A, from below, B, from above, C, from in between, D, none of those. Correct answer is A, from below. Question 50. Gandhiji's autobiography was entitled as A, the story of my experiments with non-violence, B, the story of my experiments with Swaraj, C, the story of my experiments with truth, D, the story of my experiments with Satyagraha. The correct answer is C, the story of my expectations with truth. Question 51. Gandhiji Swaraj as a structure consisted of ever widening and never ascending circles whose center was A, village panchayat, B, Ram Rajya, C, individual, and D, freedom. The correct answer is C, that is individual. Question 52. One of the following is not written by Gandhiji. A, Hindi Swaraj, B, Satyagraha, D, non-violent Satyagraha, D, the discovery of India. The correct answer is D, the discovery of India. Question 53. Match list 1 with list 2. Question 52, answer to be descriptive. I repeat, correct answer is D, the discovery of India was written by Nehru. Question 53. Match list 1 with list 2. In the row, list 1 and list 2. Under list 1 in the column, serial number A, Eaton, serial number B, Gregg, C, Gandhi, D, Woodcock. Under list 2 in the column, 1, Gandhi, 2, the power of non-violence, 3, Gandhi, fighter without a sword, 4, Satyagraha. Code in the row A, B, C and D. Under A in the column, serial A3, B3, C3, D3. Under B in the column, serial A2, B4, C1, D1. Under C in the column, A4, B2, C4, D1. Under D in the column, A1, B1, C2, D4. The correct answer is A. That is under A, Eaton. 3, that is Gandhiji, fighter without a sword. B, Gregg. 2, the power of non-violence. C, Gandhiji. 4, Satyagraha. D, Woodcock. 1, Gandhi. Question 54. Gandhiji Sarvodaya meant A, the welfare of the rich, B, the welfare of the poor, C, the welfare of both the rich and the poor, D, none of the above. The correct answer is C, the welfare of both the rich and the poor. Page 6.19. Chapter 6, Political Ideas, Rule of Law, Civil Society, Swaraj, Revolution, Democratic Participation, Exercises. Question 55. Gandhi, Father of a Nation, was written by A, Deluca, C, Clement, C, Borman, and D, Richards. The correct answer is C, Clement. Question 56. One of the following does not match. A, Borman, Gandhiji and non-violence. C, Sheehan, lead kindly right. D, Woodcock, Gandhi. D, Mahadev, a prophet earthed. Correct answer is D, Mahadevan, a prophet earthed. Question 57. Who had said, within inverted commas, civilization is not a burden, but it is an opportunity, inverted comma close. A, Nehru, B, Gandhiji, C, Tagore, and D, Tilak. The correct answer is C, that is Gandhiji. Question 58. One of the following is an incorrect statement of Gandhiji. A, as are the ends, so are the means. Question B, means are like the seeds, but means are like the seeds, end is the fruit. C, pure means result is impure ends. D, while means are under one's control, ends are not so. A, correct answer is A. As are the ends, so are the means. Question 59. Within inverted comma, revolutions are engines of history. Who said this? A. Lasky, B. Marx, C. Lenin, and D. Gandhi. The correct answer is B, that is Marx. Question 60. Within inverted comma, a successful revolt is a revolution. A failed revolution is a revolt. Who said this? A. Aristotle, B. Marx, C. Lenin, and D. Stalin. Correct answer is C. Lenin. Question 61. Match list with list 2. I repeat, match list 1 with list 2. In the row, list 1 and list 2. Under list 1, scholar within bracket. Under list 2, book. Under list 1, scholar, in the column, serial number A, Dunn, B, Chauhan, C, Petty, and D, Brinton. Under list 2, book. 1. The theories of revolution. 2. The anatomy of revolution. 3. Modern revolutions. And D. Process of revolution. The correct answer is A. That is under A, 3. That is, I repeat, quote, in the row A, B, C, and D. Under A in the column, serial number A3, B1, C2, D4. Under B in the column, serial number A3, A1, B3, C4, D2. Under C in the column, serial number A4, B2, C1, D3. Under D in the column, serial number A2, B4, C3, and D1. The correct answer is A. That is under serial number A, done 3. That is modern revolutions. Under B, Chauhan. Under B, Chauhan 1. That is theories of revolution. C, Petty 4. The process of revolution. D, Brinton 2. The anatomy of revolution. Chapter 6. Political ideas, rule of law, civil society, Swaraj, revolution, democratic participation, exercises. Page 6.20. Question number 62. One of the following does not match. A. Arendt on revolution. B. Gladstone, revolutions. C. Parker, history of revolutions. And D. Whitcroft, the world atlas of revolution. The correct answer is Parker. Parker wrote the book Revolutions and History. Question 63. One of the following is known to have launched the Cultural Revolution. A. Great Britain, B. United States, C. China, and D. Iran. The correct answer is C. China. Question 64. According to Jacques Gladstone, one of the following does not belong to the first generation of revolutions. A. Petrim Sorokin, D. Charles Eliot, C. Gustave Le Bon, and D. Theodore Stockpole. The correct answer is C. D. Correct answer is D. Theodore Stockpole. Question 65. One of the following is not the example of the four classic great revolutions. A. Glorious Revolution, B. French Revolution, C. Russian Revolution, and D. Nicaraguan Revolution. The correct answer is D. That is Nicaraguan Revolution 1979. I repeat. Question 65. Repeat. One of the following is not the example of the four classic within inverted comma great revolutions. A. Glorious Revolution within brackets 1688. B. French Revolution within brackets 1789 to 1799. C. Russian Revolution within bracket 1917. And D. Nicaraguan Revolution within bracket 1979. The correct answer is D. Nicaraguan Revolution 1979. Question 66. Consider the following with regard to the concept of revolution. 1. Revolution alters social structure. 2. It brings about changes in political institutions. 3. It ends up in newer values. 4. It is usually peaceful and occasionally violent. Which of the statements given above are correct? A. 1, 2, 3, B. 1, 2, 4, C. 1, 3, 4, and D. 2, 3, 4. The correct answer is A, 1, 2, 3. That is 1. Revolution alters social structure. 2. It brings about changes in political institutions. 3. It ends up in newer values. Question 67. Assertion A. Revolutions denote socio-political changes. Reason R. They are always fundamental and radical in their scope. A and R are true. R is the correct explanation of A. B, A and R are true, but R is not correct explanation of A. C, A is true, but R is false. And D, A is false, R is true. The correct answer is A. That is A and R are true. R is correct explanation of A. Question 68. Assertion A. A successful revolt is a revolution. Reason R. A failed revolution is a revolt. A and R are true. R is correct explanation of A. B, A and R are true, but R is not the correct explanation of A. C, A is true, but R is false. D, A is false, but R is true. The correct answer is B, A and R are true, but R is not the correct explanation of A. Question 69. Assertion A. Revolutions contain a measure of violence. And reason R. No one can have omelette without breaking eggs. A and R are true. R is the correct explanation of A. B, A and R are true, but R is not the correct explanation of A. C, A is true, but R is false. D, A is false, but R is true. The correct answer is A. That is A and R are true. R is the correct explanation of A. Question 70. Consider the following statements. 1. Glorious Revolution, within bracket 1688, challenged the divine rights of the kings. 2. French Revolution, within bracket 1789, brought forth the values of liberty, equality and justice. 3. Russian Revolution established the first socialist state in the world. 4. Iranian Revolution was an Islamic revolution. Which of the statements are given above are correct? A. 1, 2, 3, B. 1, 2, 4, C. 1, 3, 4 and D. 2, 3, 4. The correct answer is C. That is 1, 3, 4. 1. Glorious Revolution, within bracket 1688, challenged the divine rights of the king. 3. Russian Revolution established the first socialist state in the world. 4. Iranian Revolution was an Islamic revolution. Question 71. One of the following matches. A. Done. Modern revolutions. Question 72. According to Marxism, revolutions occur because of the conflict between A. Relations of production and mode of production. B. Mode of production and forces of production. C. Forces of production and relations of productions. D. None of the above. The correct answer is C. That is forces of production and relations of productions. D. None of the above. The correct answer is C. Forces of production and relations of productions. Chapter 6. Political ideas, rule of law, civil society, Swaraj, revolution, democratic participation. Question 73, page 6.21. Question 73. For the Marxists, the capitalist revolution against the feudal system was a class revolution. B. A socialist revolution. C. A part class and a part socialist revolution. D. Neither a class revolution nor a socialist revolution. The correct answer is A class revolution. Question 74. The Marxian theory of revolution believes in the following nature of the causes of revolution. A. Cultural, B. Political, C. Materialistic and D. Religious. The answer is C, that is materialistic. Question 76. In the Marxian ideology, the use of violence in revolution is A. Essential, B. Accidental, C. Imperative and D. Abruptive. The correct answer is B. Accidental. Question 76. The October 1917 revolution in Russia was A class revolution, B. A socialist revolution, C. Both a class and a social revolution, D. None of the above. The correct answer is B. A socialist revolution. Question 77. Marx's description of revolutions as engines of history means A. Revolution as a step forward, B. Revolution as a step backward, C. Revolution as 2 steps forward and 1 step backward, D. Revolution as 1 step forward and 2 steps backward. The correct answer is A. Revolution as a step forward. Question 78. Social behavior theory of revolution is basically A. technological, B. material, C. religious, and D. sociological. This is sociological. Question 75. In the Marxian ideology, the use of violence is revolution. In revolution is A. essential, B. accidental, C. imperative, and D. abruptive. The correct answer is C. B. The correct answer is B. accidental. Question 76. The October 1917 revolution in Russia was a class revolution, B. a socialist revolution, C. both a class and a socialist revolution, D. none of the above. The correct answer is B. a socialist revolution. Question 77. Marx's description of revolutions as engines of history means A. revolution as a step forward, B. revolution as a step backward, C. revolution as 2 steps forward and 1 step backward, D. revolution as 1 step forward and 2 steps backward. The correct answer is A. revolution as a step forward. Question 78. Social behavior theory of revolution is basically A. technological, B. material, C. religious, and D. sociological. The correct answer is D. sociological. Question 79. Match list 1 with list 2 with regard to the approaches relating to revolution. In the row, list 1, list 2. Under list 1, advocate. Under list 2, approach. Under list 1, an advocate. Under list 1, advocate under which in the column serial A, Gar, serial B, Johnson, serial C, Huntington. Under list 2, under approach, serial number 1, political, 2, psychological, and 3, sociological. Code A in the row A, B, C. Under A in the column, serial number A2, B2, C3, D1. Under B in the column, serial number A1, B3, C2, D2. Under C in the column, A3, B1, C1, D3. The correct answer is B, that is under A, that is Gur. 2, that is physiological. Wrong, repeat. Under A, that is Gur. 2, psychological. B, Johnson. 3, sociological. C, Huntington. 1, that is political. Question 80. Assertion A. Revolutions occur when some change results in a change that is different from the past. Reason R. The new situation creates an opportunity for a revolution. A and R are true, R is the correct explanation of A. B. A and R are true, but R is not the correct explanation of A. C. A is true, but R is false. D. A is false, but R is true. The correct answer is A. That is A and R are true, R is the correct explanation of A. Question 81. Hannah Arendt wrote the following book. A. About revolution. B. On revolution. C. Beyond revolution. D. None of the above. The correct answer is B. That is on revolution. Question 82. The cause of revolution lies in the state of mind of the masses implies that the cause is A. sociological, B. political, C. psychological, D. natural. The correct answer is C. psychological. Question 83. One of the following does not hold disequilibrium as the cause of revolution. A. Bob Jessop, B. Mark Hurt, C. Cammers Johnson, and D. Peter Ammon. The correct answer is D. Peter Ammon. Ammon hints at the conflict causes of revolution. Question 84. One of the following is not the book written by Scopel. A. States and Social Revolution. B. Social Revolutions in the Modern World. C. Democracy. And D. On Revolution. The correct answer is D. On Revolution. On Revolution was written by Hannah Arendt. Chapter 6. Political Ideas, Rule of Law, Civil Society, Swaraj, Revolution, Democratic Participation, Exercises. Question 85, page 6.22. Question 85. Match list 1 with list 2. In the row, list 1 and list 2. Under list 1, revolution. Under list 2, nature of changes. Under list 1, in the row, in the column, Under list 1 in the column, serial number A political, B green, C cultural and D social. Under list 2 in the column, serial number 1 societal changes, 2 alteration in beliefs, 3 changes in state institutions, 4 enhancement of agricultural products. Code in the row A, B, C and D. Under A in the column, serial number A3, B3, C3, D1. Under B in the column, serial number A4, serial number B2, serial number C1, serial number D3. Under C in the column, serial number A2, B4, C4, D2. Under D in the column, A1, B1, C2 and D4. The correct answer is A. That is under A, political, 3, that is changes in state institutions. Under B, green, 4, enhancement of agricultural products. C, cultural, 2, alteration in beliefs. D, social, 1, societal changes. Question 86. Who regarded revolution as a means of achieving freedom? A, Immanuel Kant, B, John Milton, C, Karl Marx and D, Hegel. The correct answer is B, that is John Milton. Question 87. For Hegel, revolution was A, fulfillment of human destiny, B, fulfillment of the idea itself, C, fulfillment of the rational spirit and D, fulfillment of the state. The correct answer is A, fulfillment of human destiny. Question 88. Match list 1 with list 2 with regard to the objective of revolution. In the row list 1 and list 2. Under list 1, serial number A, Kant, B, Hegel, C, Milton, D, Marx. Under list 2 in the column, serial number 1, a means to attain freedom. Serial number 2, locomotive of history. Serial number 3, fulfillment of human destiny. Serial number 4, advancement of mankind. Code in the row A, B, C, D. Under A in the column, serial number A1, serial number B4, serial number C4, serial number D4. Under B in the column, serial number A2, B2, C3, D1. Under C in the column, A3, B1, C1, D2. Under D in the column, A4, B3, C2, D3. The correct answer is C, that is under A, Kant, 4, that is advancement of mankind. B, Hegel, 3, that is fulfillment of human destiny. C, Milton, 1, a means to attain freedom. D, Marx, 2, locomotive of history. Question 89. Within inverted comma, those who make peaceful revolution impossible will make violent revolution inevitable. Bracket inverted comma close. Who said so? A, Sir A, John F. Kennedy, B, Woodrow Wilson, C, George Washington, D, Franklin Roosevelt. The correct answer is John F. Kennedy. Question 90. Revolutions are not made. Within inverted comma, I repeat, within inverted comma, revolutions are not made. They come. Inverted comma close. It implies A, revolutions are spontaneous. B, they are engineered. C, they are consciously attempted. D, they are violent. The correct answer is A, revolutions are spontaneous. Question 91. Democratic participation implies A, right to cast one's vote, B, right to evaluate the governmental policies, C, right to participate in public matters, D, all the above. Correct answer is D, all the above. Question 92. One of the following is true about democratic participation. A, people's right to participate in governance. B, people's right to oust a government. C, people's right to disobey a law. D, people's right to launch a revolution. The correct answer is A, people's right to participate in governance. Question 93. Felon law prescribes A, franchising rights, B, defranchising rights, C, outlawing rights, policies, and D, none of the above. The correct answer is B, that is defranchising rights. Falcon defranchisement law defranchises criminals. Question 94. Assertion A. Active citizenship expects people to participate in the affairs of governance. Reason R. Citizenship is a right as well as a duty. Question A. Proposed answers. A and R are true, R is the correct explanation of A. B. A and R are true, but R is not the correct explanation of A. C. A is true, but R is false. D. A is false, but R is true. The correct answer is B. A and R are true, but R is not the correct explanation of A. Chapter 6. Political ideas, rule of law, civil society, Swaraj, revolution, democratic participation. Exercises. Question 95. Page 6.23. One of the following does not support citizens' participation. A. Poluantas, B. Pitman, C. Scumpeter, and B. Barber. The correct answer is C, that is Scumpeter. Scumpeter is democratic elitist. Question 96. Gladiatorial activity implies A. Exercising franchise, B. Expressing one's views, C. Holding a party office, D. None of the above. C. Holding a party office. Question 97. Match list 1 with list 2. In the row, list 1, under list 1 author. In the row, list 2, under list 2 book. Under list 1 in the column, serial number A, Robertson, serial number B, Barber, serial number C, Kaiser, and serial number D, Dahi. Under list 2, serial number 1, on democracy, serial number 2, political participation, serial number 3, the right to vote, serial number 4, strong democracy. Quote, in the row, A, B, C, and D. Under A in the column, serial number A2, serial number B2, serial number C2, serial number D3. Under B in the columns, serial number A4, serial number B3, serial number C1, serial number D2. Under C in the column, serial number A3, serial number B4, serial number C3, serial number D1. Under D in the column, serial number A1, B1, C4, D4. The correct answer is A, that is under serial number A, Robertson, 2, political participation, B, Barber, 4, strong democracy, C, Kaiser, 3, the right to vote, D, Dahi, 1, democracy. Question 98. The following discovered the term demarchy. A. David Helt, B. Alexander Kaiser, C. John Barnham, and D. Benjamin Ginsberg. The correct answer is John C, that is John Barnham. The correct answer is C, John Barnham. Question 99. Name of the Plantage's book is A. Socialism, State, Power, B. State, Power, Socialism, C. Power, Socialism, State, D. State, Socialism, Power. The correct answer is B, State, Power, Socialism. Question 100. One of the following is not a form of political participation. A. Voting is in election. B. Election and electioneering. C. Legislating a bill. D. Holding a public office. Correct answer is B, that is election and electioneering. Election and electioneering constitute processes and thus do not constitute participation. 101. Question 101. One of the following does not match. A. Dahi, on democracy. B. Macpherson, democratic theory. C. Huntington, the second wave, and D. Robertson, political participation. The correct answer is C, that is Huntington. Huntington wrote the book The Third Wave. Question 102. The iron law of oligarchy is associated with A. Macaulay, B. Maggini, C. Michels, and D. Millet. The correct answer is C, Michels. Question 103. Consider the following statements with regard to democratic participation. A. Governance activity involves the public as officials. 2. Governance activity involves officials separated from the public. 3. People elect the government. 4. People's government takes care of the interests of the people. Which of the statements given above are correct? A. 1 and 2, B. 1 and 3, C. 2 and 4, D. 1 and 4. The correct answer is B, that is 1 and 3. Governance activity involves the public as officials. 3. People elect the government. Question 104. Participatory democracy seeks the following: A. Democratization of legislatures, D. Democratization of bureaucracies, C. Mass participation in public affairs, D. All of the above. The correct answer is D, that is all the above. Question 105. One of the following matches: A. Barber, weak democracy, B. Dahi, on democracy, C. Ginsburg, the results of consent, and D. Held, patterns of democracy. The correct answer is Dahi, on democracy. Barber's book was Strong Democracy, Ginsburg's book, The Consequences of Consent, Held's book, Models of Democracy. Question 106. Match list 1 with list 2. In the row, list 1 and list 2. Under list 1 in the column, serial A, Adams, serial B, Hamilton, serial C, Washington, serial D, Madison. Under list 2 in the column, 1. U.S. first shortest president till date, 2. First vice president, first U.S. vice president, 3. First U.S. president, 4. First U.S. finance secretary. Quote A in the row A, B, C and D. Under A in the column, serial A2, B2, serial C2, D1. Under B in the column, serial A3, serial B4, serial C1, D2. Under C in the column, serial A4, B3, serial C4, D4. Under D in the column, serial A1, B1, C4 and D3. The correct answer is B, that is under serial number A, Adams, 2, that is first U.S. Vice President. Serial number B, Hamilton, 4, that is first U.S. Finance Secretary. C, Washington, 3, first U.S. President. D, Madison, 1, U.S. first shortest president till date. Chapter 6. Political ideas, rule of law, civil society, Swaraj, revolution, democratic participation. Exercises. Question 107, page 6.24. Question 107. Often called the first Western autobiography, the Confessions was written by A. Augustine, C. Cicero, B. Aquinas, and D. Aristotle. The correct answer is C. Augustine. Question 108. Crane Brinton did not write the following book: A. Decade of Revolution, B. Anatomy of Revolution, C. Ideas and Men, and D. Revolutions. The correct answer is D, that is Revolutions. The book Revolution was written by David Davis. Question 109. Huntington's book challenging the conventional view of modernization was: A. Political order in the changing societies, B. The clash of civilizations, C. Who are we, D. None of the above. The correct answer is A. Political order in the changing societies. Question 110. Magna Carta within bracket 1215 was issued by A. John, B. Edward, C. James, D. Mary. The correct answer is A. John. Page 6.25. Chapter 6. Political ideas, rule of law, civil society, Swaraj, revolution, democratic participation. In this chapter, philosophers, personalities and scholars. Adams John within bracket 1735 to 1826 bracket close, the first US Vice President and the second US President. As a statesman, he was for core Republican ideals. Historian Robert Rutland described Adams as the most captivating founding father within bracket of the US Constitution bracket closed, known for his hatred of corruption and devotion to civic duty. Augustine within bracket 354 to 430, one of the most important figures in the development of Western Christianity, wrote The City of God. Brigham Thomas within bracket 1933, one of the most senior judges of UK, Lord Chief Justice of England and Wales, known for his advocacy of the rule of law. Blackstone William, within bracket 1723 to 80, an English jurist known for his treatise on the common law called Commentaries on the Laws of England. Born Gustave Helle, within bracket 1841 to 1931, a French social psychologist, sociologist and author, works The Revolution of Matter, the psychological the psychology of peoples, the crowd, a study of the popular mind. Brenton Crane, within bracket 1898 to 1968, an American historian of ideas. Most of his writings are on the concept of revolution. Works The Anatomy of Revolution, A Decade of Revolution, A History of Western Morals, Ideas and Mans. Barnham John, an academician, wrote Is Democracy Possible?, inventing the term demarchy to describe a political system without the state and or bureaucracies, striking resemblances with Thucydides in advocating a polity based on randomly selected groups of decision makers. Coke Edward, within bracket 1552 to 1634. Some believe that he was born in 1553. Pounced as Coke, a great jurist, one of the drafters of the Petition of Right, within bracket 1628. He interpreted Magna Carta to apply to all the subjects of the crown. His famous quote, within inverted comma, reason is the right of law. The common law itself is nothing else but reason. D.K. Avey, within bracket 1835 to 1922, an English jurist known for his explanation of the rule of law, wrote an introduction to the study of laws of the Constitution, shortly called The Law of Constitution. His other works include The Privy Council, Lectures on the Relation between Law and Public Opinion in England. Dunn, D-U-N-N, Dunn John, within bracket 1940, a professor of political science, works Modern Revolutions, Western Political Theory in the Face of the Future, The Politics of Socialism, Rethinking Modern Political Theory, The History of Political Theory and Other Essays, Great Political Thinkers, Setting the People Free, The Story of Democracy, wrote on Locke extensively, The Political Thought of John Locke, a very short introduction. Forehand John, an American socialist, was an American sociologist with research interest in social movements, revolutions and social change. Works Feminist Futures, The Future of Revolution, Theorizing Revolution. Ginsberg Benjamin, a professor of political science, co-author of a number of books including Presidential Power, Unchecked and Unbalanced, Downsizing Democracy. Goldstone Jack, an American socialist and a political scientist, works Revolution and Rebellion in the Early Modern World, Revolutions of the Late 20th Century, Science and Voice of Contentious Politics. Hamilton and Alexander, within bracket 1755 or 1757 to 1804 bracket closed, an American army officer, lawyer, a leading statesman, a political theorist, one of the two leading authors of the Federalist Papers, within bracket, along with Madison, bracket closed. Hammurabi, within bracket 1810 BC to 750 BC, the sixth king of Babylon, known for his set of laws, Hammurabi's Code. Huntington Samuel P., within bracket 1927, an American political scientist, a professor of Harvard University, works The Soldier and the State, Political Order in the Changing Societies, American Politics, The Third Wave, The Clash of Civilizations, and The Remarking of World Order. Who are we? His famous quotes, within inverted comma. Western culture suffers from three problems. It is false, it is immoral, and it is dangerous. John King, within bracket 1116 to 1216, bracket close. Magna Carta, within bracket 1215, was forced on him by the mobility which later on came to be described as the Charter of the Liberties of the English people. Chapter 6, Political Ideas, Rule of Law, Civil Society, Swaraj, Revolution, Democratic Participation. In this chapter, philosophers, personalities and scholars, page 6.26. Johnson Chalmers, within bracket 1931, an American author and professor of California, works Blowback, The Sorrows of Empire, Nemesis. Khomeini Ayatullah, within bracket 1900 to 1989, a seized Muslim cleric and the political leader of the 1979 Iranian Revolution. Kim Lika Will, a Canadian political philosopher, advocates multiculturalism, works multicultural citizenship. Moore Barrington Jr., within bracket 1913 to 2005, bracket closed, an American political sociologist, works Social Origins of Dictatorship and Democracy, Political Power and Social Theory, Injustice. Ranger Tyranny, an African historian with Hobsbawm, wrote The Invention of Tradition, works Voices from the Rocks, Voices and Memory. Sartori Giovanni, within bracket 1924, bracket closed, an Italian political scientist. A special interest, comparative politics, works Parties and Party System, The Theory of Democracy Revisited, Comparative Constitutional Engineering, Concept of Misformation in Comparative Politics. Scott James C., within bracket 1936, professor of political science at Yale University, works Sing Like a State, Weapons of the Weak. Sokpol Theda, within bracket 1947, an American sociologist and political scientist and advocate of historical institutional and comparative approaches. Her interest in political theory is in the state autonomy theory, works States and Social Revolutions in Modern World, Demonist Democracy. Sorokin Pitirim, within bracket 1889 to 1968, a Russian-American sociologist shifted to the United States in 1923, a vocal opponent of Parsons' theories, known for his social cycle theory, a member of Kerensky's government, charged with the death by the Bolsheviks, later sentenced was commuted to exile, works Social and Cultural Dynamics, The Crisis of Our Age, Power and Morality. Tilly Charles, within bracket 1929, an American sociologist, works From Mobilization to Revolution, as sociology meets history, big structures, large processes, huge comparisons, European revolutions, durable inequality, social movements, from contentions to democracy. Chapter 6, Political Ideas, Rule of Law, Civil Society, Swaraj, Revolution, Democratic Participation. In this chapter, key terms and concepts. Page 6.27. Bill of Rights, one of the basic legal documents of 1689, containing certain positive rights, within bracket right to petition, for example. Catastrophe, a calamity resulting in great losses, an event of extraordinary magnitude. Civil society, it refers to voluntary participation of numerous organizations, largely non-state. Civil war in America, a major war between the United States and its 11 southern states, within bracket 1861 to 1865. The US government owned, but slavery was abolished in the country, a war that saw the killing of about 4 lakh people. Communism, a form of socialism proposed by Karl Marx, advocating the abolition of capitalism, on the one hand and establishment of full socialism on the other. From each according to his work, to each according to his needs. Constitutions, a document that explains how a government would be composed of functions, may be written or unwritten, flexible or rigid, the basic law of the land. Equality, gender. It refers to the elimination of all bias against the women. 6. Social, economic, legal and political equality between men and women. Equilibrium, balance, quality of distribution. Executive, a branch of government responsible for day-to-day management of state, usually known as government itself, and organ of the government that carries on administration. Judiciary, a branch of government which administers justice. Legislature, a branch of government that makes laws, usually represents the people, prepares legislation, controls the executive, has a last word on nation's income and expenditure. Magna Carta, literally known as the Great Paper, issued by King John in 1215, is described as the chapter of the liberties of the English people. Wrong, I repeat. Legislature, a branch of government that makes laws, usually represents the people, prepares legislation, controls the executive, has a last word on nation's income and expenditure. Magna Carta literally means Great Paper, issued by King John in 1215, is described as the charter of the liberties of the English people. Liberal democracy, it is a form of representative democracy where elected representatives have the decision-making power and are controlled by the people who have political rights. Non-violence, a political strategy within bracket associated with Gandhiji, bracket close, which rejects the use of violence and preaches love for all. Participation, people's right to participate in the affairs of the state. Primordialism, it refers to an argument what contains that nations are ancient and are natural phenomenon. That is, a nation is obvious as is height of a people. Philosophically, the term is traced to the ideas of German Romanticism, especially in the works of John Gottlieb Fichte and John Gottfried Herder. Petition of Right, a document produced by the English Parliament in 1628. It sought from Charles I redressal on forced loans, arbitrary arrest, imprisonment contrary to Magna Carta, imposition of martial law. The petition had the support of the jurist Edward Coke. Private, part in something which is personal and that is individual. Public, part in something which is associated with the people, belonging to the people, affecting them. Reason is the ability to form and operate upon concepts in abstraction, that is in accordance with rationality and logic. Revolt, a rebellion, refusal to accept authority. Revolution refers to sudden and radical transformation of an entire system of a polity and society. I repeat, revolution refers to sudden and radical transformation of an entire system of a polity and society. Entire system of a polity and society. Marx called it the engines of history. Sarvodaya, it is a term which means, within inverted comma, universal profit. Wrong, I repeat, within inverted comma, universal uplift, by inverted comma close, or within inverted comma, progress of all, a term coined by Gandhiji, refers to a situation which means that the good of the individual contains the good for all, and vice versa, a philosophy which means at that the good of the poorest of the poor should always be the object of life. The Sarvodaya movement was held by Vinoma Bhave, a Gandhian. Satyagraha refers to non-violent resistance developed by Gandhi, who had said that it means holding on to the truth in all circumstances. By truth, he meant what inner self experiences at any given point of time. what responds to one's moral self. Self-realization refers to the knowledge of the Atman, one's true self, also related to moksha. Separation of power refers to the exercise of the powers of lawmaking, law enforcing, and law adjudication in three different organs of the government, a theory developed by Montesquieu within bracket 1689 to 1755, the spirit of laws, bracket close, adopted by the framers of the US constitutions, though together with the theory of checks and balances. Slavery refers to a state of subjugation, bondage, enslavement, serfdom. Swadeshi refers literally to something which is nature. Gandhiji said that Swadeshi was a key to Swaraj. For Gandhiji, Swadeshi meant a spirit in which restricts us to the use and service of our immediate surroundings to the exclusion of more remote, inverted comma closed. Transparency implies openness, communication and accountability, something that can be seen through.